Good morning, Foundation Stage parents. Welcome to our Phonics webinar.
Hi, this is Miss Latika from FS1B.
And I'm Miss Rekha from FS2E. And we are going to take you through the journey of phonics in Foundation Stage.
I'm just quickly going to share the screen and I'll take you through FS1 phonics. There we go. In FS1, we go through the phase 1 phonics and we deal with the following sounds, that is the environmental sounds, the instrumental sounds, the awareness of sounds and rhymes, rhythm and rhymes, alliteration and voice sounds. I am now going to take you in detail what we do through the sounds in FS1. Environmental sounds. Environmental sounds are the sounds that we hear all in the environment. So the environmental sounds includes the sounds of the cars, the sounds of the animals, the sounds of the transport, the sounds of household. We encourage the children to listen to the sounds either through the iPad, or they also listen to the sound when they're walking in the environment and they identify the sounds. For example, in school, the children go on a sound walk and they try to listen to the sounds that is happening in the environment and they say all the sounds. The instrumental sounds is the next sounds that we learn in phase 1 phonics. Instrumental sounds are the sounds of all the instruments. So the kids learn about the instruments, that is, they learn the name of the instruments and then they learn to identify the instruments through the sound. So for example, the first thing that we will do is we will show the child an instrument and then we'll say the name. Later, through I Spy game, we put the instruments or we hide the instruments and we play the sound, and the children need to recognize what instrument it is. In the latest stage, what we do is we tell the kids to play the instrument fastly, slowly, so that they can also make rhythm and rhymes through the instrumental sounds. The next sound that we do in phonics is the awareness of sounds and rhymes. In FS1, the children need a basic guide of the rhymes that they sing. So we sing rhymes on everyday basis at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day in school. And also the children learn the rhymes through actions. By the end of phase 1, the children also try to learn the rhymes through the blending and segmenting, which I will take you at the end. The next is the rhythm and rhymes, where we do rhyming words or rhyming sounds. In FS1, it's very difficult for children to recognize the words, so we deal with the ending sounds. So in this, we tell the kids that they need to learn or they need to listen about the similar ending sounds. For example, cat and a mat, and we say, can you hear the ending sound, that is cat and mat, and the ending sound is similar and hence it rhymes. So the basic thing that you can do with your child at home when we begin with rhythm and rhymes is to rhyme with your own name. Like for example, if Ali is there, so we say, hey Ali Bali, can you please come here, so they get an awareness of the similar ending sounds. This is a bit difficult concept for the children to get in FS1, so we take a longer time to understand this. It is very important for the children to hear the sounds before they can write it, because that's what is going to help them to write it in near future. Because we do not teach the alphabets, we all deal with only the sounds, which Miss Rekha is going to guide you further. The next phase 1 thing in phonics we do is alliteration. The alliteration is the beginning sounds. So first we do with the ending sounds and then we start with the beginning sounds. When I say the beginning sounds, we need to frame a sentence or a word with similar sounds. Like for example, it's called as a slithering snake. So both has the same sounds at the start. when we do rhymes, when we do the rhythm and rhymes, it's the ending sound, and when we do the alliteration, it's the beginning sounds. Please do not worry, because when we do each and every concept in the newsletter, we will be giving all the parents the information about what we are doing for that particular week, and you can guide your children according to it. The next thing and the most important thing in FS is the voice sounds, which then goes ahead with blending and segmenting. The voice sounds are the sounds that the children hear around the environment again, but this sounds is specific to a thing. For example, when we tell a child to be quiet, so what sound do you make? You make the sound shh. So that is a voice sound. A voice sound is a sound that comes within, that comes from your mouth movements. That is the voice sounds, which is further inculcated into blending and segmenting of sounds. So the blending and segmenting is where we try to break a three-letter word for a child to listen at the first. So for example, if I have to say boys and girls, we show a picture of a cat and we say this is cat, and the child tries to say it is a cat and it is cat. It goes, and we only deal in FS1 with three sounds, and we do not go further in FS1. Later, when the child is able to recognize what is cat, then we go ahead in teaching how many sounds can you hear. For example, it's act, and it is three sounds. That comes in the later stage. Again, blending and segmenting is a big concept for FS1 kids. It will take time, but with practice, the children do get understanding of this. Again, when we do blending and segmenting in FS1, we do share the pictures with the parents through the newsletters. The last thing that we do in FS1, which comes at the beginning of term 3, is the phase 2 sounds, which is the sat pens, or we can say the introduction of initial sounds, which is s, a. So we do not focus anything of letters and alphabets before term 3 in FS1. We only start with these sounds in term 3, and in FS1 the children learn up to 5 or maximum up to 7 initial sounds, and that is then further continued in FS2. Ms. Rekha is now going to guide you through how we teach phonics in FS2 in continuation to FS1.
Morning, parents. I am Miss Rekha again, and I am FS2E class teacher. So in continuation to phase 1 sounds, which the children learn in FS1, where mostly we concentrate on developing children's speaking and listening skills. So this lays the foundation for phonics work that will start in phase 2, that is begins in FS2. So phase 2 letters are introduced one at a time. And as you can see, the phonics learning is a multi-sensory process. That means the children have to recognize the sounds, listen to the sounds, say the sounds, identify the sounds, and then they have some actions when they learn the sounds. So here in GFM, we use Floppy Phonics. Floppy Phonics is an easy to use phonics training program that we introduce to the children, and they learn the letters and sounds, and which will help them further to read and write successfully. When we start phonics in FS2, children will move from oral blending to blending and segmenting with the letters. Now, how many sounds will the children learn in FS2? So all through this year, they will be learning 50 sounds and 23 high frequency words, or they are also called as the tricky words. So these 50 sounds include 25 phonemes. That means they are the single sounds like s, a, t, p, I, So they are one sound that, and we tell them how, what you sound is that letter makes. Then there are 22 digraphs. That means there are two letters, but they make one sound, like C and H make ch, and S and H make sh. So ch, sh, and th. And the last one is trigraphs. Trigraphs means three letters that make one sound, like I as in night, air as in pair, and ear as in hear. So we guide the children all throughout the phonics lessons, like how we use the sounds and how is if it is a phoneme or a digraph or a trigraph. Now, like I said, in FS2, these are all the sounds which we learn. First, we go introduce the children with phase 2 sounds that includes s, a, t, p, I, N, and so on. So here you may have noticed that the sounds are not in the regular order of A, B, C, D. This is because we start the floppy phonics program begins with at sat pin. And so once we finish like one or two sets of sounds, we move the children from blending and segmenting the sounds to make a word. Now, what are the high frequency words? The high frequency or the tricky words are the words that cannot be segmented, nor can we blend them. We need to read the words as it is, and we also teach the children the words as it is, and we also help them how to use the tricky word in a sentence, and also teach the children how to build their sentence using these tricky words. So the tricky words which we teach in FS2 are first the phase 2 tricky words, and then we introduce them the phase 3, and through the third term, in the third term, we introduce few of the phase 4 tricky words. And every week we introduce one tricky word and we teach them to recognize, to write, and to use the tricky word in a sentence and build a sentence of their own, which many children will be successful by the end of FS2. Now, how we teach the sounds in FS2. So for each sound we teach, we use the phonics flashcard. For example, for this sound, we say s, s. So we only, here you might have seen that we only use the pure sound. That means we don't say like s, t, p. It's s, t, p, which we will guide all the parents throughout the FS2, because you will be receiving 2 videos per week of the sounds we teach the children. I'm going to tell you more about it at the end of this session. So when you are practicing with your children, ask them like, what sounds did you learn in school today, and see how they say the pure sound like s. And we also teach the children whether it is a stretchy sound or a bouncy sound. So that will help them when they start segmenting and blending. For example, for this, we say at the beginning stage, we say s. It's a stretchy sound. We need to stretch it when we say the sound. One more time. S. So at the beginning stage of learning the phonics, we focus on the first sound of the letter. That is, here we say sun, saffron. So when the children see the pictures, they know, they just hear the initial sound in the beginning of the phonics. So when they see the picture, they say sun or snake, and they come up with the words which they think has this sound. Now, the second example here, this is is a bouncy sound. So we tell the children to show their bouncy hands like they are bouncing the ball, like And like I said, at the beginning stage of the learning, the focus sound is the first sound of the word. For example, apple, ant, and ajman. Now, how we teach blending the sounds to read. So while teaching the blending, we use the sound buttons. So you might have seen the buttons under each sound. And we also use our fingers to tell the children like how many sounds are there. And they count the sound button and they say there are 3 sounds. So sound buttons act as a guide through the word. So once they've got used to the blending, children will be comfortable to break the words and to blend the sounds to make a word. Okay, for example, how we teach the blending over here. So here the word you see is sat. So we've got 3 sounds. we ask the children, can you all show 3 fingers? And we pinch our fingers when we say the sounds. For example, s, a, t. Now, can you identify what the word is? All right. So we use different strategies to make the children understand and blend the word. For example, we stretch the word like sat. Can you identify the word now? One more time. Sat. So sat makes the word sat. So that's how we teach blending in FS2. Let's look at one more example. So here again the word has 3 sounds. Let's show 3 fingers and pinch each finger when we say the sound. So here is a stretchy sound. So Can you identify the word? Let's check one more time. Now let's stretch the word to see what word is this. Ready? Man. Man. So when we stretch the sounds, the children will recognize what word is it. So here, and man. That's right, it's man. Now, how we teach segmenting the sounds to write the word. Okay, so we tell the children to hear the sound by sound. So first, we look at the picture. What picture can you see here? It's a mop. Mop. Now we ask the children, can you hear the initial sound? Okay, mop has 3 sounds like you can see in the sound buttons. Now let's hear the first sound. Ready? Mop. Mop. That's correct. It's mop. Now let's hear the second sound. Ready? Op. That's correct. It's oh. Now let's hear the last sound of the word. So op. Op. That's correct. It's op. Mop. So that's how children will identify sound by sound initially till they get used to segmenting each word. Digraph is 2 letters that make one sound. So here, rock. The picture has a digraph at the end of the sound. So rock. Now we show the picture to the children and we ask them to identify the initial sound again. Ready? So rock. 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 So what can you hear in the first? That's correct. It's So we ask them to write the sound and then let's focus on the middle sound. So ok. That's correct. It's the letter O in the middle. So Now finally let's hear the last sound of the word. Ready? Ok. So it's a digraph where C and K makes one sound and that makes k, k, k. So ok, rock. Now when we draw the underline at the end of the word, the children will know that it's a digraph and they write C and K that makes k sound. So ok makes rock. Now, how can you help your children at home? So you can engage your children in some fun activities. So at the beginning of the phonics, before we blend and segment, we do this activity in the class as well. So you can say, I spy with my little eye game. So you can ask the children, okay, I spy with my little eye something that begins with sound. So they will go around the house, look for something that begins with s. That could be sofa or that could be spoon, okay? And then you can tell them something that begins with t, t, t sound like TV or table. And then the second game which you can play with your children is musical phonics game. So you can write the sounds in a piece of a paper and the words on a paper. And when the music stops and wherever the children stand, they need to pick up the sheet and read the sound or blend the word to read the word. And third is oral blending. So you can ask your children like go to bed, that is bed, or can you sit, sit. So this is how children will engage in a lot of fun activities at home as well. Now, we would like to request all the parents of FS2 specially to check the Evidence Me on Thursdays, because you will receive 2 videos from the teachers about the sounds which we have learned that week. Okay, and you will also receive the practice sheets which you can practice with your children at home. That includes the sound we have learned, the blending words, and to segment and write the words. So there will be the blending words. You can ask your children to blend the sounds to and help them in blending to make a word. And there will be the segmenting the words. There will be the picture of the word, and ask the children like what they can see in the picture. And if they see pan, so ask them what sounds can you hear in pan. Pan. So pan. And if you need any further support, you can always get in touch with your child's class teacher, or any of the FS team will be happy to help.
How are you going to teach your child phonics at home? Always remember that when you are teaching your child phonics at home, encourage them to listen more rather than you telling them, okay, can I hear the sound? So ask them, what sound can you hear? Tell them to have their listening ears wide open. When you're teaching writing names at home, encourage your child to write from the capital letter, and then the first letter would be the capital, the rest all would be the lowercase letter. In FS2s, the children have already started to practice writing their names. In FS1, we will start from the end of term 1. So we can say once they come after the half term, we will start introducing it with few kids, and all the kids will start writing their names by the end of term 1, because at the moment in FS1 the major focus is on the pre-writing skills, which has, if the child is able to hold the pencil in a correct form and is able to draw circles, zigzag lines, straight lines and cross lines. When you're teaching letters and sounds at home, please focus on the sounds and not on the letters. That is, like S is for sun. Please do not say S. We say like S is for sun. Help your child also to segment and blend, as Ms. Rekha said, like when you're talking with your child, so just ask them, can you come here and sit, and the kids can listen to it and they can go ahead by framing a word.
Thank you for attending our webinar. I hope you got a lot of information, but in case you need any assistance, you can always get in touch with the foundation stage teachers, and we are all happy to help.